Okay, guys, I want to give you a lineup to try to use here for today on the 3rd of May. As a quick overview is what's going on. The last few days have been tough for a lot of fantasy daily players on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Fantasy Draft. And so, what you want to do is think about the large sample size and try to rely on that. Of course, there are some players that are on the downside of their career or they're trying to come up and be advantageous as a younger player, but we're going to look at the consistent numbers dating in the past, 3 seasons data, so that we can rely on the numbers and not worry about the last few days or so, as a lot of people have mixed results, and just rely on the metrics of what the game is. So, it's particularly in fantasy scenarios. So we're looking at the draft dashboard just to try to organize our lineups here. And if you want a copy of this to get it also on your laptop, or works just fine on iPhone or Android, pretty similar, except it just doesn't show one particular section of this spreadsheet here. I'll just pull it up right now to show you that it just won't have like your innings pitched or up to plate times at bats, as well as the average here, ERA, as well. So it'll just cut out these three columns right here. So then hopefully, you can bring it or pull it up on a computer. And so looking at the top, I'm going to split it up really quick and provide you some lineups to kind of just make this shorter and cut to the chase. For the only 5 games, I recommend splitting them up. If you want to do an all day, maybe do just a tournament dollar. Not spending a lot, of course, but just taking a chance or flyer on something to maybe win big. If you can mix and match some of these lineups, great. And I'll even show you an example of that. So these are just some of the watched players. Actually, not really the top watched players. You can do that to get yourself a pretty good idea of what players to maybe perhaps not watch just because everybody else is watching them, that are using the same tools a lot of people are, as it gives you an idea of user owner percentage, for the day, especially in tournaments. And so Washington McCullers today, of course, and what are we on, the early slate? Yeah, 1:05 p.m. And I'm not sure about, it's early in the day, it's 7:22 a.m. about weather concerns and so forth, but being concerned about the pitcher Carrasco for Indians in the first game slate, just watch that, make sure he's starting. Okay, he should be, but and then the second slate, they're bringing up a guy that I'm from the minor leagues, I'm not familiar with, but looking for advantage there and playing Toronto, and that's why I got these guys watched, even because I'm not really trying to attack Carrasco if he's okay. But in the second of the doubleheader, I'm looking to do so versus that rookie pitcher, it appears. So that's what we're doing here. As all these players are watched, such as Markakis, there's going to be a lot of Atlanta guys to play today, checking in the lineups and so forth. Here the batting order, and of course always the weighted on base percentage. As I check that daily and watch according to that, a very big factor in deciding my plays. And so now we're just going to go ahead and make a lineup and see what happens here on FanDuel. One moment. As we're just waiting for the lineup optimizer, here's a probable, an idea. Don't just go with the same thing. Adjust a couple players at least to upgrade perhaps your lineup as actually, batting orders are set, because this even gives you some room here to play with and work with. So McCullers, Suzuki for Atlanta, Cabrera, second base is looking fine, I suppose, for the Mets, and so on. Ciarte, Bruce, Pilar, Acuna. The only guy is in question for me is Diaz for Toronto, but for early slate, maybe there's a couple upgrades. I don't know. It's just a position where the only solid guy as a stud is Trey Turner, so you're gonna have to work with and adjust what you can there. Maybe go with let's say Escobar. As it's just not a whole lot you can do at that position, but this gives you an idea of that. And we can switch here while we're there to the main 4 game. All right. As I'm pretty much in agreement with the lineup so far. Just waiting on this. As there's not a whole lot of great, starting pitchers options for today, so be careful of this, of course, when you're using this because you don't want to oppose yourself with a pitcher. So maybe we can take. I want to play Rosario in the outfield on the late slate, as all these players look good, except once again shortstop. But maybe let's see what other pitcher option I have, and I can actually start Manaea as probably the best for the late main slate because that's all you're going to get versus the Seattle Mariners, and I didn't see another solid pitching option. Price doesn't seem to me worth it. His OPS right now is .717 compared to Lopez. For the White Sox, 640. His numbers, his probability of having a value-wise a good game on that slate on FanDuel is just greater. So that's a recommendation there, along with these guys. Okay, and then one more for the all-dayer, like I mentioned in the tournament, perhaps to see what giving you three options, all during the day. And once again, it comes up with McCullers, Smoke, excellent. We got a couple Toronto guys, I'm hoping, if not more. I don't know, not sure why I have a Baltimore guy in there. Why even have Manny Machado? To be honest with you, so I'm just going to make my adjustments. That's part of the game. Maybe Kike Hernandez, shortstop. I mean, you could go with Machado just because of the lack of at that position. He's 4,800, but Turner's 4,500. We need to save a little money, perhaps. 34. We got $400 left, and it just gives you an idea how fast these lineups are made. You could pump out, if you want, 10 lineups in a day easily within a matter of minutes. So, I'm not liking the third base option. Who else we got? Pedro Alvarez for Baltimore. I'm not sure about the Baltimore matchup. To be quite honest, because these guys are not highly ranked. Maybe you just have to get away with someone here or there, but they're playing the Angels, or perhaps just to double check. Let's investigate a little bit more into the position optimizer and see why I chose. Sometimes I forget. And this is how you can track yourself as well, because the watch players are there that I chose to watch and to play against. Let's see. On the all-day slate. And this is why. I chose to attack Berea and I chose Baltimore lefties because I chose the righties for Baltimore because his OPS, the last 3-year average, as I mentioned earlier, is at 1.205. So I was looking at some Baltimore righties. That's the reason why for that, all right? So I'll leave you with that advice for today. Best fantasy advice. Take care.